to MLR. Again, another weekend where we had a lot of upsets, a lot of setup for this one. And I think this was actually a really great second weekend of rugby for the MLR because my goodness, like what can we expect more when we are still early on, but it's anybody's game. So let's take a look at this right off the bat. We had first game was Old Glory taking on the New England Free Jacks. That looked like that should have been an absolute upset of a game. It should have been an absolute upset of a game for Old Glory. But man, whenever you're talking about the battle of the colors, the battle of the blues and reds, the battle of patriotism, man, DC took out Boston like it was took out Boston. And that was a great game by DC, jumping off of a loss from New Orleans just a week ago, which is a rivalry game, to take on New England, who is obviously the reigning champions. But in addition to that, they are also really favorites to be able to win this all again. They're a powerful team. They've brought back a lot of their players. They seem to have loaded up, but man, Old Glory came and they did it they did it at home. That is impressive. Protecting this house. I'm sorry, they did it on the road, protecting this house. That's the way it's supposed to get done. That's the way you're supposed to get it done, man. Shout out to Old Glory, Paul Sheehy and them for that one. Next, we had Nola Gold taking on the Anthem. Again, Nola Gold, a slow start, but we're able to get it. This is the first time in 2 years since basically Nate Osborne got fired that New Orleans has been able to start off a season 2-0. After prior being really perennial playoff contenders, the last 2 years have been very, very poor. But man, shout out to them for taking them on. I know the Anthem is not a good team. They're a young team. There's literally just like college players and, basically just out of college players that are taking on the pros that have been established, as well as the foreign guys. But, I'm shouting out for gold. All right, that's how you're supposed to get it done. That's what you do. You take out a team you're supposed to win. 34-19, Nola Gold. Utah Warriors versus Chicago Hounds. Much closer game than the score looks. Man, Utah Warriors ended up taking this one 29-15. Chicago Hounds they're just not getting that leverage. Obviously, they got the win last week against Miami, but weren't able to take it up. Look, traveling to Miami and then going up into the mountains to Utah, that's tough, man. That's tough. Tough back-to-backs on that one to be able to go. And then next up, we got Seattle Seawolves versus Miami Sharks. Game was 29-18. Miami Sharks really could have won this one because Seattle was really shooting themselves in the foot this entire game. But again, the new teams, the expansion teams, just they be expanding, man. They expanding. Like, it's hard to be an expansion team out in these pieces, man. So, again, they do their best. Obviously, you're going up to Seattle. That is a long travel. You're literally going back in time by 3 hours. Like, this is a tough one to be able to do. But again, you got to give a team where like the Seattle Seawolves, again, they came off of a very, very sloppy game from just a week ago against the San Diego Legion. Of course, getting a win, but man, sloppy game again. But Starfire Stadium, the Black Hole, seems to be able to keep them up, and they got another win, 29-18. Dallas Jackals were not able to follow up their win from last week against LA, against the San Diego Legion, staying in California. Legion would end up taking this one 30-23. And then finally, Houston SaberCats were up in LA. And again, I think the Houston SaberCats probably are the dark horse to win the West. They ended up beating LA 27-12. Again, it's a tough game. Again, none of the expansion teams should be expected to win anything of significance for this year. Just it's tough. You need the synchronization. Even if they came off from other teams, like you need the synchronization. It's just so much. All right, so let's look into the games that are going to be going on for this week. First off, we got New England versus Nola Gold in New England. I think Nola Gold is going to be able to keep this level up, even though I do feel like New England is going to be angry. And I'm not going to use the power of transientness, since obviously, like, whenever you use power of transient, it means like if Gold beat DC, and DC beat New England. Hence, New Orleans Gold should be able to beat New England. That's not how it works. I actually think that this New Orleans Gold team is actually coming out with a new zeal. They've gotten a good refreshing of players. Obviously lost some, but I think their coaching, I think they got some they rehabilitated themselves this year. It's going to be a very, very tough game in New England. It's going to be very, very tough. But I think that getting out of the smoggy heat that's popping up in New Orleans and going into the coolness in New England is going to play a lot. There's not an altitude thing. Players are on point. Man, look for New Orleans to be able to beat New England. Next, we got Old Glory DC versus Chicago Hounds. Old Glory is at home for the first time in 2 weeks. Old Glory is about to whack Chicago Hounds. They're about to wax them. They're going to open up their stadium, the new stadium at the Maryland Soccerplex. They're going to absolutely not murder. I don't think it's murder, but they're going to beat old Chicago Hounds. Next, you got Houston SaberCats taking on the Miami Sharks. Again, another situation where Miami Sharks just aren't getting any favors. Going on the road now for the second week in a row. Houston SaberCats, like I said, I think are the dark horse to win the West. I think Houston is going to absolutely have a smashing time in their own stadium again. And they're going to end up beating Miami Sharks. Miami, even though it's Argentina, third side, again, synchronization and trying to get their legs underneath them. There's a lot of parts to this, but I think Houston SaberCats end up winning this one. Utah Warriors take on the Seawolves. Man, I look at the Seawolves. Yes, they're 2-0 so far, but I think they've had the sloppiest 2-0 starting off the season. I think this is where the dam finally breaks for them. Utah at home, again, that altitude is huge. Even though Seattle has its own altitude is huge. Utah is hungry, and they want to be able to get another win, go back-to-back. I look at Utah to be able to get this one over Seattle with not ease. This is going to be a very close game. It's going to be a very sloppy game, but I don't think Seattle is going to have the chance to shoot itself in the foot and still get the win nonetheless. Like, I just don't see it happening again for a third time in a row. Good team. It's a good team, but I think I think they're going to get the leverage by week 6, and then you're going to see them kind of just soar through the West, and it's going to come down to Seawolves versus Houston. I really do believe it. San Diego Legion takes on Los Angeles. San Diego is going to beat Los Angeles. San Diego is going to beat Los Angeles. It's at home for San Diego. Los Angeles is still a team that's on the rise. There's expansion team. It's going to take them a while. It reminds me literally of whenever the Giltinis were getting their hands, like super talented, bunch of experience, but you got to get your legs underneath you. It takes you at least 25% of the season to be able to get that, and then there we go. We can go from there. And then lastly, the Carolina Anthem take on the Dallas Jackals. Anthem are at home again. Again, this is a young team. The Dallas Jackals were the expansion team just this last year. I think Big Brother is going to try and take over, going to try and show out against Little Brother. Anthem just don't have the size, don't have the speed. They're a late in the season. Look for them to do something next season team. They are not about playing or winning this year. They're about getting their legs underneath them, and that's where it goes with that marker. So, let me know what you guys think about this, Where are you guys feeling with it? What do you guys think about what's going into this next season of MLR, not season, this next week of MLR? Let me know what your predictions are, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, y'all. We're going to go to a commercial break real quick. We're going to be right back. We got special guest Jason Bray of Rugby Lovers Guide to Asia. You guys have probably seen him whenever we do Singapore to Tokyo. We're going to be talking Super Rugby. We're going to be talking National Rugby League, and we're going to go into depth with it, y'all. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey everybody, this is just the break train sending out a personal little video diary to all you people out there, where I am going to document me riding most of the way between Singapore and Tokyo for the 2019 Rugby World Cup.
I needed help, and it came from Louisiana.
We in Singapore, baby!
Gift from GiftTime Rugby USA is a extroverted tour de force. But what unites us is a hunger for adventure.
Off to KL, Kuala Lumpur.
Gift, where are we?
We're in
Morning, Vietnam! Mount Fuji, baby!
Our love of Asian rugby culture.
1, 2, 3, center!
Rugby is starting to develop here in Cambodia for women as well.
Valkyries, the mighty, mighty Valkyries!
We're out here, we're running out of energy, we're running out of money, and we're feeling isolated. And yet at that critical moment, friends, family, sometimes complete strangers come on board. Before you know it, we're back in the game.
Tokyo, here we come!
Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. Watch the full adventure at crugby.vhx.tv. That's C like SEE rugby.vhx.tv.